first we have this from Democratic Congressman Adam Schiff, who said this about the prioritising of Christian refugees from majority Muslim countries. He said, "A religious test for refugees is an extreme violation of our history in a nation founded on religious liberty."
Well, no. The 1980 Refugee Act specifically orders the government to take religion into account when selecting refugees. You're supposed to help the religiously persecuted. In fact, the 1990 Lautenberg Amendment specifically established a religious test to resettle Jews from the former Soviet Union and later Iran. And that amendment was reaffirmed by none other than Obama in 2015.
Interesting. Now, we've got this next from Republican commentator Sean Davis, who says that Obama enforced a de facto ban on Christians from Syria, not Muslims, just Christians.
Yeah, this one's getting around a lot. And look, firstly, Obama took more Christians than Muslim refugees every year, except for 2016, when 46% of his refugees were Muslim to 44% Christian. But it is true that Obama took very few Syrian Christians. Only 125 Christians last year out of 15,479 Syrian refugees. That's less than 1% of them, even though Christians make up about 5% of Syria's population. But America isn't the one filtering the refugees. The UN selects the 1% neediest refugees and then they assign them to different countries, including America. And there's something strange happening there because only 1.5% of the Syrian refugees registered with the UN are Christian. I'm not sure why that is, but it's not Obama's issue either way.
All right, we are busting myths.
Yes.
What about this from President Trump? He says, "My policy is similar to what President Obama did in 2011 when he banned visas for refugees from Iraq for 6 months.
Thanks for playing fake Donald, but it's not similar at all because, look, Obama did greatly slow the processing down of Iraqi refugees for 6 months while they updated the screening system, but they never completely stopped accepting Iraqi refugees during that period. And much more importantly than that, that's all just refugees.
Right.
Obama's decision didn't apply to potential immigrants like Trump's does, or to people with dual nationality in other countries, and it especially didn't affect people who already had green cards in America. And those extra elements, they're the ones that were controversial.
Sure are. Now, prominent never-Trumper, all-round curmudgeon and former Reagan advisor Bruce Bartlett says, states like Saudi Arabia, where the 9/11 terrorists came from, get a pass because Trump has business there. This one's getting a lot of traction too.
Come on, fake Bruce. You're better than that. You're better than that. Look, the executive orders list of 7 countries comes directly from Obama's 2016 list of countries of concern.
Obama again.
It all goes back to him. If there's a conspiracy, it involves the O-man, John.
All right then, now finally, President Trump is back for one more whack at this. He says it's not about religion. This is about terror and keeping our country safe.
Look, I'm not saying it is about religion. I don't know what it's about, but I'm not sure the order is making America safer either. I mean, the Syrian refugee vetting process currently involves 6 security database checks, 5 background checks, 4 biometric security checks, 3 in-person interviews, 2 interagency security checks, and a partridge in a pear tree, taking about 2 years overall. Now that, John, is extreme vetting.
Extreme vetting.
And remember, that is after the refugees are selected by the UN. There are 1 million Syrian refugees registered with the UN and only about 15,000 of them went to America last year. So why would ISIS send someone to a refugee camp and they go through all that vetting on the tiny, tiny, tiny chance that they will eventually, years and years away, end up in America? It doesn't make sense, which is maybe why the number of people killed on American soil by terrorist attacks involving refugees from those countries?
How many?
0. 0. I think the vetting's working, okay? And that is not a myth.